This is the all-new Honda Clarity fuel cell vehicle. It takes hydrogen gas, mixes it with oxygen in the atmosphere, and the output is electricity, really heat and water.
While the world races toward electric vehicles, Honda is placing a different bet. They're not abandoning clean energy, they're just choosing a path most automakers won't touch. Instead of batteries and charging stations, Honda is pushing hydrogen fuel cells into the mainstream with a vehicle nobody saw coming. It's a gamble that could either reshape the entire industry or fade into obscurity. But knowing Honda's history, betting against them has never been a smart move. So what makes Honda think they can pull this off when others have failed?
One of the advancements that we've made with this generation of fuel cell vehicle is we packaged pretty much everything except for the tanks under the hood.
The founder's vision, Soichiro Honda's engineering philosophy. Honda didn't start as a car company. It began with a man covered in grease, tinkering with machines in a small workshop. Soichiro Honda was born in 1906 to a blacksmith father, and he grew up surrounded by tools, bicycles, and the smell of metal. He loved speed and had an obsession with making things work better. His first business wasn't glamorous. In 1937, he founded Tokai Seiki to manufacture piston rings for Toyota. Small parts, unglamorous work, but it taught him precision. Then World War II destroyed everything. His factory was bombed. He had to start over. But Soichiro didn't quit. After the war, Japan was in ruins, gasoline was scarce, and people needed cheap transportation. So in 1946, Soichiro bolted old military generator engines onto bicycles. It was rough, makeshift, but it worked. 2 years later, he officially launched Honda Motor Company. From those scrappy motorized bikes, Honda motorcycles began winning races and breaking records. The world noticed. Japan could build machines that rivaled anything from Europe or America. Soichiro didn't just want to compete, he wanted to dominate through engineering excellence. He believed that if you made the engine better, everything else would follow. That philosophy became Honda's DNA. Take risks, innovate relentlessly, never settle for good enough. It's why today, Honda produces more engines than any other company on the planet, from motorcycles to jets to Formula One cars. If it has an engine, Honda has probably built one for it. Honda's engine legacy, why they're different. Honda sells over 4 million cars every year, making them the 7th largest automaker globally. But they're not just big, they're respected. Honda has built a reputation for reliability that few brands can match. The Honda Accord, for example, consistently ranks as one of the best sedans you can buy. In just the first half of 2017, over 161,000 Accords were sold. People trust Hondas because they rarely break down, and when they do, they're easy to fix. But Honda's real legacy lies in their engine innovation. In the 1970s, they developed the CVCC engine, which met strict USIS emission standards without a catalytic converter. It was a breakthrough that proved clean didn't mean weak. Then came VTEC in the late 1980s, a system that allowed small engines to deliver the power of much larger ones. It became legendary among car enthusiasts. Honda was also one of the first to bring hybrid vehicles to the US market, proving that fuel efficiency could coexist with performance. They've always approached engines differently. Where other companies saw limits, Honda saw puzzles to solve. That mindset has carried them through decades of industry shifts. And now, while everyone rushes toward batteries, Honda is asking a different question. What if the future isn't about abandoning engines, but evolving them? The EV revolution. Everyone's chasing. Electric vehicles used to sound like science fiction. No gas, no engine noise, just plug in and drive. But today, they're everywhere. Teslas zip down highways with massive touchscreens. You can charge while grabbing coffee. The future arrived faster than anyone expected. Governments pushed hard to make it happen. Tax breaks, rebates, and incentives flooded in to encourage people to ditch gas guzzlers. Some countries went further, announcing outright bans on new petrol and diesel car sales within the next 10 to 15 years. The message was clear. Electric is the future, and internal combustion is the past. EVs leveled up quickly, battery range improved, charging times dropped, prices, while still high, started coming down. And once people got over the oddness of a silent car, they lined up to buy them. Every major automaker jumped in. Ford, Hyundai, Volkswagen, GM. Everyone started rolling out electric models like they were the latest must-have tech. The momentum feels unstoppable. Climate change concerns, urban air quality issues, and the appeal of cutting-edge technology all pushed EVs into the spotlight. It's not just a trend, it's a full-scale industry transformation. But revolutions always have cracks, and the more you look at the electric vehicle surge, the more those cracks start to show. The hidden problems with electric vehicles. Electric vehicles are celebrated as clean, green, and futuristic. But the reality is more complicated. Start with the batteries. They're massive, heavy, and packed with materials like lithium, cobalt, and nickel. Mining these materials tears up landscapes, pollutes water sources, and often happens in countries with poor labor standards. It's not a pretty process, and it's definitely not as clean as the finished product suggests. Then there's the problem of what happens when those batteries die. They don't last forever. After several years, they degrade and need replacing. Recycling them is difficult and expensive. Right now, we don't have a great system for dealing with millions of worn-out EV batteries. They're piling up, and we're still figuring out what to do with them. Charging is another headache. Even with fast chargers, you're looking at 30 minutes to an hour for a decent charge. That's fine if you're grabbing lunch, but it's a pain on a long road trip. And if you live in an apartment or don't have a driveway, charging at home isn't an option. You're stuck hunting for public chargers, which aren't always available or working. Range anxiety is real. Most EVs get 200 to 300 miles per charge, which sounds okay until you're on a highway in winter with the heater blasting. Cold weather kills battery performance. Suddenly that 250-mile range drops to 180, and you're sweating whether you'll make it to the next charger. Then there's the grid. If everyone plugs in their EV at the same time, especially during peak hours, the electrical grid struggles. In some places, utilities have already asked people not to charge during certain times because the system can't handle it. We're pushing millions of EVs onto roads without upgrading the infrastructure to support them. Electricity prices are climbing too. As demand grows, so will costs. The promise of cheap, clean driving starts looking less affordable. EVs are a step forward, but they're not a perfect solution. They shift problems rather than solve them entirely. And that's where Honda's hydrogen bet starts making sense. Honda's first hydrogen experiment, the Clarity fuel cell. In 2015, Honda unveiled something that felt like it drove out of the future. The Honda Clarity fuel cell debuted at the Tokyo Motor Show, and it was Japan's first hydrogen-powered car available for purchase. It didn't burn gas. It didn't plug into a wall. It ran on hydrogen, and the only thing it emitted was water vapor. Honda didn't half-heartedly slap hydrogen tech into an existing model. They built the Clarity from the ground up. The fuel cell stack was compact and efficient, tucked neatly under the hood. Inside, a wave flow system circulated hydrogen faster and more efficiently, squeezing out more power without waste. The result was a car that could travel up to 3x miles on a single tank. Back then, that beat most electric vehicles. The Clarity was also surprisingly practical. It seated 5 people comfortably. It was quiet, smooth, and spacious. Refueling took about 5 minutes, just like a regular gas car. On paper, it was the perfect, clean vehicle. All the environmental benefits of an EV with none of the charging headaches. But the Clarity failed. Not because of the technology. The car worked beautifully. The problem was infrastructure. Hydrogen fueling stations barely existed. Unless you lived in California or a few spots in Japan, good luck finding a place to refuel. Road trips were stressful, maybe impossible. People don't buy cars that leave them stranded. Then there was perception. Hydrogen sounded complicated, even dangerous. Electric cars, on the other hand, felt simple. Plug in, charge, drive. EVs had celebrity endorsements, government incentives, and charging stations sprouting up everywhere. Hydrogen didn't get that same love. There were no tax breaks, no media buzz, no test drive events at the local mall. Honda sold or leased a few hundred Clarity models, mostly in California. But the market just wasn't there. In 2021, Honda discontinued the Clarity fuel cell, along with its electric and plug-in hybrid variants. It looked like the end of Honda's hydrogen dream. But it wasn't. What Honda learned and why they didn't quit. Honda didn't walk away from the clarity defeated. They walked away informed. The biggest lesson was clear. The technology worked. Hydrogen fuel cells were reliable, efficient, and clean. The problem wasn't the car, it was the world around it. So Honda took a step back. They watched the EV market explode. They saw Tesla's stocks soar and legacy automakers scramble to go electric. They didn't panic. Instead, they kept their hydrogen research alive, quietly refining the technology behind closed doors. Honda knew something others were starting to realize. Electric vehicles aren't a one-size-fits-all solution. Batteries have limits, mining rare materials, long charging times, grid strain. These problems aren't going away. Hydrogen, on the other hand, offered a different set of advantages. Fast refueling, longer range, no battery disposal issues. It just needed the right moment and the right infrastructure. Honda also understood that entering a market too early is just as bad as entering too late. The clarity was ahead of its time. But instead of giving up, Honda decided to wait, improve, and prepare for when the infrastructure finally caught up. And they weren't doing it alone this time. The CR-V hydrogen SUV, a smarter approach. Honda's comeback isn't a niche sedan this time. It's the CR-V, one of the most popular SUVs in America. That's a smart move. The CR-V is familiar, trusted, and already loved by millions. By putting hydrogen technology into a vehicle people already want, Honda eliminates the biggest barrier from the clarity era. It's not weird or futuristic, it's just a CR-V, but cleaner. This new CR-V FCEV, as Honda calls it, runs entirely on hydrogen. Under the rear seats sit two high-pressure hydrogen tanks, compact and safe. Beneath them, a fuel cell power unit converts hydrogen into electricity on the go. Hydrogen enters, combines with oxygen from the air, and produces electricity. The only byproduct is water vapor. Pure enough to drink, technically. The system is more advanced than the Clarities. Honda teamed up with General Motors to develop a next-generation fuel cell stack that's smaller, lighter, and more efficient. It delivers more power while using less space. That means the CR-V still has plenty of room for passengers and cargo. You wouldn't even know it's running on hydrogen unless someone told you. Refueling takes 3 to 5 minutes. That's as fast as a gas station stop. Once filled, the CR-V can travel close to 400 miles. That beats most EVs and matches many gas-powered SUVs. You get the range and convenience of a traditional vehicle with zero emissions. But Honda went further. The CR-V hydrogen can also act as a backup power source. If the power goes out at home, you can plug the car in and run essential appliances. It's not just transportation, it's a mobile generator. That's useful in emergencies, and it adds real value beyond just driving. Honda isn't launching this nationwide right away. They're starting in California and Japan, where hydrogen stations already exist. As infrastructure expands, so will availability. It's a cautious, measured rollout. Honda learned from the Clarity. You can't sell a hydrogen car where there's nowhere to fuel it, but this time the infrastructure is catching up, and that changes everything. The infrastructure problem is disappearing. For years, hydrogen cars had one fatal flaw. You couldn't refuel them. Stations were rare, scattered, and impractical for most drivers. That's changing now, and fast. California leads the charge in the US. The state has over 50 hydrogen stations open, with more planned. They're clustered in populated areas like Los Angeles, the Bay Area, and San Diego. It's still not as widespread as gas stations, but it's enough to make hydrogen cars viable for daily use. Other states are watching closely. As California proves the model works, others will follow. Japan is going all in on hydrogen. The government sees it as a cornerstone of their clean energy future. Stations are expanding rapidly, especially around Tokyo and Osaka. Japan wants hydrogen to power not just cars, but buses, trucks, and even neighborhoods. Germany is building hydrogen infrastructure for heavy-duty vehicles. Trucks that haul goods across Europe need fast refueling and long range. Batteries can't handle that efficiently, but hydrogen can. China, the world's largest car market, is pouring billions into hydrogen. They're deploying it in buses, taxis, and delivery vehicles. The infrastructure is growing faster there than anywhere else. This isn't speculation. It's happening right now. Governments aren't just testing hydrogen. They're betting on it. Why? Because it's not just for cars. Hydrogen works for trucks, trains, ships, and industrial uses. It's versatile in ways batteries aren't. Here's the real kicker. Electric vehicles are starting to strain the power grid. During peak hours, utilities struggle to meet demand. Some places already ask EV owners not to charge at certain times. That's a problem that gets worse as more EVs hit the road. Hydrogen doesn't add stress to the grid. It's a separate system, and it can be produced using renewable energy. That makes it attractive to governments trying to balance clean energy with grid stability. The infrastructure that killed the Clarity is finally being built. And Honda's CR-V Hydrogen is arriving right as those stations go live. Timing, it turns out, is everything. Hydrogen versus electric, the real comparison. Let's put hydrogen and electric side by side and see how they actually stack up. Refueling time. EVs take 30 minutes to several hours depending on the charger. Hydrogen takes 3 to 5 minutes. That's not a small difference. It's the difference between a quick stop and a long wait. Range. Most EVs offer 200 to 300 miles per charge. Some high-end models hit 400, but they're expensive. The CR-V Hydrogen gets close to 4,800 miles on a single tank, and that range doesn't drop in cold weather like it does with batteries. Environmental impact. EVs produce zero emissions while driving, which is great, but making the batteries requires mining lithium, cobalt, and nickel. That mining damages ecosystems and uses a lot of energy. Hydrogen fuel cells skip the battery entirely. They don't need rare earth metals. The fuel cell stack uses platinum, which is expensive but recyclable. And hydrogen can be made from water using renewable energy. That's called green hydrogen, and it's as clean as energy gets. Grid stress. Charging millions of EVs puts massive strain on electrical grids. Some areas already can't handle it. Hydrogen doesn't touch the grid. It's produced separately, stored, and distributed like gasoline. That takes pressure off an already struggling system. Material sourcing. Batteries depend on materials that are expensive, hard to get, and concentrated in a few countries. That creates supply chain risks. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe. We just need the infrastructure to produce and distribute it efficiently. Fire risk. EV batteries can catch fire and are difficult to extinguish. It's rare, but it happens. Hydrogen is flammable, sure, but the tanks are designed to vent safely if damaged. The risk is different, not necessarily higher. Neither technology is perfect, but hydrogen solves specific problems that EVs struggle with: fast refueling, long range, no battery disposal, and no grid strain. For certain drivers and situations, hydrogen makes more sense, and Honda is betting that enough people will see that to make it worthwhile. Honda's broader engine strategy with Japanese automakers. Honda isn't working alone. They're part of a broader Japanese effort to keep engines alive in a zero-emission world. Along with Toyota, Mazda, Subaru, and even Yamaha, Honda is exploring alternative fuels and advanced combustion technologies. Toyota has been the loudest voice in this movement. They've argued that batteries aren't the only path forward, and that internal combustion engines can run clean if you change the fuel. They're developing engines that run on hydrogen, biofuels, and synthetic fuels. These aren't traditional gas engines. They're redesigned to burn cleaner fuels with near-zero emissions. Mazda is experimenting with rotary engines adapted for hydrogen. Subaru is looking at boxer engines that can run on carbon-neutral fuels. Yamaha, known for motorcycles, is building hydrogen-powered V8 engines. It sounds wild, but they're serious. Honda fits into this group as both a fuel cell pioneer and an engine innovator. Their partnership with GEM gives them access to cutting-edge fuel cell technology. Their collaboration with other Japanese automakers keeps the door open for combustion engines that don't rely on fossil fuels. This isn't about clinging to the past. It's about expanding options. Not every country has the electrical grid to support millions of EVs. Not every driver has access to charging. Rural areas, developing countries, and remote locations need alternatives. Hydrogen and clean combustion engines can fill that gap. Honda's strategy is smart. They're not putting all their chips on one technology. They're developing hydrogen fuel cells, refining hybrids, and keeping combustion research alive. If one path wins, great. If another takes off, they're ready. It's flexibility, and in a rapidly changing industry, that might be the smartest move of all. Honda isn't trying to beat electric vehicles. They're offering an alternative. For some drivers, EVs will always make sense. For others, hydrogen will be the better choice. Honda's betting that the future has room for both. And if they're right, their hydrogen CR-V might not be a gamble at all. It might be the move everyone else wishes they'd made.